Oops, non-black superchemist. We're on part B. I think it's 13. I don't know, but part B. If you want to watch these sermons in a row, go to my playlist called PASTAFARIAN Sermons. And let me see exactly where I am here. Okay, no, this is actually sermon number part 11. 11B, okay? And 11A and 11B, and there might even be an 11C, is called tithing, okay? Tithing is where you give money to the church because God is poor. He can make universes, but I guess he's autistic when it comes to money. He can't manage his own money. I don't know. But they want these, like I said, $104 billion every year is collected in the United States. You can give $170,000 to every homeless person in this country with that kind of money. And yet we still have homelessness. How is that possible? If their Christian God really cared about people and society, right? And he was real, he wouldn't be doing that, right? Right? Only a God that was made up by man, right? would want fear. Would want shame. They want shame in their. There's no fear in Pastafarian religion. There's no shame in the Pastafarian religion. We have no shame. I could go. There's not one Christian on this planet that can talk to me, and within 5 minutes they'll be having their head down in shame of what I show them in the Bible. It's not. And I've showed hundreds, literally hundreds of Christians. Not one has kept their head up high. Every last one of them put their head down, and literally some of them cried. But do they change? No, they don't change. They stay Christians. No matter how much evil you point out in the Bible, they'll acknowledge it. They don't care. It never even occurs to them. Maybe a dude wrote this because they want power over you. They want control over you. They want the masses to fear God. They want masses to give God money. Because that makes sense. This all makes sense. But what have they done? They already control the world. They're 60% of the world. They're 2/3 of the world. More than 2/3 of the world, actually. And yet, look at the world. Look at what their God, their supposed fake God, does. I want you to think this too. There's 653,104 homeless people in 2023, right? That's what Google tells me. I don't know. There are 400,000 churches in the United States. A church can actually, even a small church can house like 3 families, full families. You know what I mean? Right? So you got 600 some thousand homeless people, and you have 400,000 giant buildings, and some of these buildings can house like 50 families. They're so giant. Why is there homelessness? You could literally give everyone that's homeless a freaking house or a place to live in a church, right? And give them, on top of that, $170,000 in cash. And obviously, if they're living in the church for free, they don't even need rent money, right? So they got $170,000. So if they were real Christians, or their God was real, why would they have all these churches where there's all these homeless people? Why would they collect all this money that they can literally give $170,000 every year to every guy, every homeless person in this country? And yet, it gets worse and worse and worse and worse. And you wonder why it gets worse? Because you keep worshiping this evil made-up God that was made up by. I mean, look in the Bible. What do you got? You got punished. it's not written by a dude, right? It's written by a God, but all its rules seem to favor the dude all the time. You know what I mean? A dude, hey, he makes a mistake. Hey, you punish his son. And not only that, you punish his son's son and his son's son for 4 generations. Why should the dude who actually did the bad deed, why should he be punished? No. Punish the son. Punish the son's son. The son's son's son. Yeah, because that makes sense. That makes perfect sense. Of course, their whole religion in Christianity is that you got to kill Jesus so that had nothing to do with the sin, so that God can forgive humanity's sins. These are not correlations. They make no sense. If I came to you and you did something bad to me, and I said, hey, I can't forgive you unless, my kid, someone kidnaps him and tortures him and kills him. Now, if that happens, I can forgive you. That makes no sense. None. So, why haven't they fixed everything if this God is a true God like the Pastafarian God? That's why we don't tithe in the Pastafarian religion. Our God says that's wrong. Our God says, I don't need your money. I'm freaking God, you idiot. Why would I want your money? But the Pastafarian God wants, how do you tithe? How do you tithe? It's not that we don't believe in tithing. We just don't believe that it's should be forced on someone. Like you automatically have to give 10% of everything you have to the Christian machine. Not to help poor people. Not to help homeless people. No. You need to give 10% so that the machine, the religious machine, can keep churning on and on and on and on and on, because God needs you to give 10%? Really? Is that what he needs? See, the Christian God, that's all he cares about is the machine. He cares about the machine. You got to keep the machine going. Pastafarian religion is against the machine. Yes, you can tithe. You're not required. No one is required to tithe to the machine. Okay? And no one is even, in the Pastafarian religion, is not required. You're not required to tithe the correct way, which I'm going to get into next, the correct way to tithe. Okay? Because God cares about family. Okay, the Pastafarian God, the only true God there is, right? He don't care about the machine. This machine is evil in his eyes. Okay, the way you tithe something is by going out there and actually giving. Okay, if you think you want to give $100, well, find a poor person and give them that you think the poor person is going to use the money wisely. Okay, don't just pick a crackhead on a street and be like, here's $100 for crack, okay? Because that's what's going to happen if they're a crackhead, right? But the tithing, okay, is your time. The tithing is your money, okay? But not your money to God. God don't need your freaking money, you moron. To think that is ridiculous. God does not want you, if you got $100, he does not want you to give it to the machine that takes 80% of it, and then 20% helps whatever. No. You need to get out and do it yourself, okay? And it doesn't have to be some total stranger. If you have a family member, you want to tithe, like instead of tithing, $20 a week or whatever you tithe, right? Take that $20 and give it to your struggling whatever. Your struggling brother, your kid, your parents, your friends. If you see them struggling, but they are trying, you know what I mean? If they're just being jerks and not trying, and they just want to be lazy, then don't give them no money. But that's how you tithe. That's what God looks down at a Christian. He says, "Oh, well, he gave $100 to for what? For a machine to pay the priests and preachers' salary? You know what I mean? To pay for the heat for this church that's never used by homeless people. It's only used once a week for, for events. Yeah. He looks down on them like, you're just burning your money and pretending that you're giving it to me, and I'm God, and so I obviously don't need money. That's crazy, is what God's saying. Then he looks down at the Pastafarian who's got the same amount of money, $100. But the Pastafarian goes out and, he sees 10 bums on the road there, and he takes them all to Denny's. Or he goes, maybe they stink. They can't go to Denny's, because they're homeless. You know what I mean? They won't in Denny's. But go to McDonald's. Buy them all. Buy this 10, 20 people standing around in the freezing with the barrel, having fire. Yeah. Take down, a value meal and a pop for all of them, and spend that $100 that way. Go to your son or your daughter and be like, well, is everything going good or whatever? Do you need, your car broke down and you don't have the money? Here, let me help you with that. Or you start this soup kitchen thing where you feed the homeless maybe once a day or something. You're putting your time. Yeah, take your time and go in there. But if someone's paying you, okay, if you start this soup kitchen, right, once a day, if you get paid for it, then it's not, I'm not saying you don't collect money for food, right? You collect the money, but all the money has to be spent on food, you know what I mean? Or obviously, if you got to have the homeless come in and have a place to sit and eat, right? So you got to pay for that or whatever. But there should be no machine. There should be no machine. In the building that you get the homeless to come in, you should get another Pastafarian who can donate that. You know what I mean? Has the space, and they're like, well, yeah, my business is shut on Sunday. Maybe, you can come in on that day here and do, your soup kitchen or whatever. Always trying to make the machine small and the donation worth it. That's a Pastafarian, okay? And let me tell you, if everyone would just take their, like the $104 billion that the church collects, imagine. I want you just to imagine, seriously. All those people, those Christian, Jew, Muslim people, if they would just take their $104 billion a year, and instead of giving it to the machine, their religious machine that just takes money, takes, and everyone involved in the machine gets paid, and then that little tiny grain, they throw out that crumb to the poor. If they would just stop doing that and take that $104 billion and start actually being a Pastafarian, think about it. We already know what the world would be like if the Christians and Jews and Muslims were in charge, because they're in charge right now. They've been in charge forever, right? They are the predominant whatever of this world. But think about it. What if it was a Pastafarian world? What if it was a world run by Pastafarians? Right? What would happen to that $104 billion? It would be given to the poor. Like if all the Christians in the world just woke up tomorrow and became Pastafarians, first of all, they would stop having church services in a church, right? They would hold it outside somewhere, do it online. They would be smaller, whatever's. And all that money, all the churches instantaneously would be used to help the homeless. They'd be converted into places where the homelessness that day, literally that day, would end. Poverty, right? All this money, instead of going towards the machine, would actually go to help people. You know what I mean? Wouldn't just be for virtual signaling. You know what I mean? Fake caringness. Okay, it would actually be used to help people. $170,000 a year for every homeless person. You don't think an Pastafarian believes that you just give them directly to the poor, right? You don't embezzle 80% of it and then pretend that you're doing a good job. Okay, there's going to be a part 3 because my rant is not over.